Lessons learned. What is lessons learned? Now, this is interesting. If you're introducing lessons learned into an organisation, I think you've got to be very clear what a learned lesson actually is. And I say, when I'm describing this, that a lesson is not learned until something changes as a result. A lesson is not learned until there's change. So my favourite definition of a lesson learned is a change in personal or organisational activity as a result of learning from the past. So the change is the lesson. You might say, oh, I take a different route to work now ever since that accident. I've learned that lesson. And the change of the route is the lesson. Now, commonly people define lessons learned as an observation, something that they have learned from the past. The military in the UK make a very useful distinction between lessons learned and lessons identified. And what many people call a lesson learned is actually a lesson identified. It's an observation from experience from which it is possible to learn and from which others can learn. That's an identified lesson. It's that statement that says, I took this route to work, there was an accident, the lesson is, I must take a different route in future. That's an identified lesson. Once the change happens, once you have changed your route on a regular basis, the lesson is learned. If you don't change your route, if you don't change your behaviour, there's been no learning. So please try and remember this distinction between lessons identified and lessons learned, and remember that a lesson learned has to involve change, otherwise it's not been learned.